Welcome back to Harbour Unboxed. You find Tim and myself on vacation. We're just relaxing by the pool and we thought what better time to do a Q&A series. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a pool there. Haven't gone in it at any point, but...
Yeah, lovely infinity pool, quite a nice view. We're just here in the city of Taipei, relaxing, but let's do a little bit of work. But before we do... The Harbour Unboxed Computex coverage is brought to you by MSI and Thermal Grizzly. Check out MSI's latest QD OLED gaming monitors, including the Endgame OLED for blazing fast 360Hz gaming at 1440p or 240Hz at 4K for the ultimate gaming and creator setup today. With true-to-life color calibration that's ready to go right out of the box, VESA Display HDR True Black 400 certification, unbeatable response times, KVM support, a massive array of connectivity ports, and an impressive 3-year OLED warranty, there's never been a better time to go OLED. Find out more on MSI's new range of QD OLED gaming monitors via the links in the video description. Also, supporting our Computex trip is Thermal Grizzly and their new Cryo Sheet, a high-performance graphene thermal pad that contains no liquid and therefore isn't subject to the kind of degradation seen with traditional thermal pastes, such as drying out, for example. It offers outstanding thermal conductivity, simple installation, and extreme longevity. So for more information, please check the links in the video description. Alright, first question here. Do you have any information on whether Zen 5 processors will support higher memory speeds? Will Expo beyond 6400 be a thing? We didn't get really any concrete information on that. We didn't do too much snooping either because we asked a few questions like that to AMD and we got the standard PR answer. They'll be talking about architectural changes and releasing more information on their tech day, which will be coming up soon, presumably between now and the release date. So again, shortly after Computex. Unfortunately, we don't have too much information on that.
It's a bit of a weird one because they did announce the X870 platform as supporting higher Expo memory speeds, but when we asked them specifically about whether that's for the new Zen processors or for like a future generation, very unclear on that. So I think the fact that we have heard at the show that X870 will be launching after the Zen 5 CPUs. So the initial launch platform is most likely going to be X670. And you'd think that if there was the potential of higher memory support delivered through new motherboards or something like that, that they would go with that platform to begin with so that the reviews and everything is shown on the highest performing platform. So if X670 is good enough for the fastest speeds that you would see from those CPUs, then I expect that to be the case. But the I/O die is still the same, I'm pretty sure, on the new Zen 5 parts. That's right. I believe they mentioned that. So the memory controller is in the I/O die, which means it's pretty unlikely that we'll see substantial changes and
possible tweaks, but I'm not expecting much there. With AMD making USB 4.0 standard on all motherboards, what are your thoughts on building an ultra tiny, small form factor SFF? Tim informed me that at one point I said SSF, so didn't make that mistake again. Paired with an eGPU dock versus a dedicated tiny full system for travel. So will this,
No, like eGPU docks has always been this...
latency and all that sort of
stuff.
stuff.
People want it to be a thing, right? People want it to be like...
It's a cool idea,
cool concept. It is a cool idea, like you just chuck it in your GPU, chuck your GPU in the dock, plug it into your PC, get nice external graphics performance, and then you can have this more compact, more modular system where if you don't need the GPU, you unplug it, you just take your normal system. But the big issue is that the performance suffers significantly when you're running a GPU through an eGPU sort of solution. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking old Thunderbolt, new Thunderbolt, USB 4. It's not so much like the bandwidth concerns, because some GPUs can perform well under lower bandwidth scenarios. It's really the latency that the dock and all its controllers and wires and all that introduces into the system. So Jared's Tech's a great channel that you can look at to see in-depth eGPU testing, especially on the laptop side of things.
But he's not here.
He's not here, so why are we promoting him? But anyway,
seriously, Jared.
He's consistently shown, I think he did like RTX 4090 testing through an eGPU, and it like murdered the performance, like 40–50% reductions. So USB 4, that's not solving that issue. And so ultimately eGPUs are still going to be not a good value solution, expensive, and performance reducing. So if you're building a small form factor PC, what I'm trying to say is you're still most likely going to be better off putting it into the system in some way. So you're not just blowing money on a very expensive solution.
All right, next one here. What do you think about the dual Thunderbolt 4 support potentially being a baseline feature of Z890? And do you think that Cam 2 would be potentially segmented at first and only the overclocking boards would get support? So, don't have too much to say about the Thunderbolt 4 support because it's not something I use, but it does look like it's less of a, well, it's being supported by all, at least we saw from ASRock, Z890 motherboards with 2 ports. This is sort of unreleased information at this point in time, but I believe the support is via the CPU, less so than the motherboard. But I guess it's up to the motherboard whether they throughput that feature and use it that way. There's probably some sort of motherboard implementation, but
it seems like an Arrow Lake feature that
it's an Arrow Lake feature.
Intel hasn't really announced Arrow Lake in any significant capacity, but it sounds like that will be one of the base features.
Do you have any thoughts about Thunderbolt 4 support being more standard on that platform?
I mean, sure, it's cool, it's nice, but I'd personally like to see more USB-C ports just in general on the back of motherboards.
You like the Aqua board then?
Yeah. ASRock did have a board that had like 10 USB-C ports, no USB-A ports. So probably there's a balance between the two that I'd like to see. But yeah, I mean, Thunderbolt 4 is a good standard. It works well, so can't complain there about that. But we'll have to see to make sure that it is, we'll see where the platform support lies there. But what was the other part about Cam 2?
Cam 2. So do we think that's going to be segmented initially to performance-based enthusiast products? I mean, that probably makes sense. Having said that, it's on the Project Zero ATX Z790 motherboard that MSI said is coming to market, and that's not an overclocking focused motherboard, and I don't think it's a particularly high-end board either. For example, all the Project Zero boards that we've seen so far, they're more mid-range. They're surprisingly affordable for a new motherboard using sort of a new form factor. I guess it's not really a form factor, but it's the rear-facing connectors. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be restricted to overclocking boards, or at least, I don't think. Again, we haven't really seen these boards come out. There was a lot of boards, there was a surprising amount of boards, I would have said, with that support. And some of them were like, well, we're probably going to bring it to market, or we're possibly going to bring it to market. I think MSI were the only company that said their board's definitely coming to market.
That's right. It seemed very experimental. They didn't really know quite when, where, what sort of configurations they'd be offering. And obviously, a lot of it hinges on the memory support that will be available for consumers. If there's not a lot of memory, they're probably not going to go crazy on releasing these sorts of features. So, yeah, I think we'll probably see it more in sort of some, I expect it to be an experimental board that they're sort of testing the waters, kind of like with the Project Zero stuff, where you probably wouldn't want to release a new memory standard into a board and then try charge like $600 or $700 for that. Well, because they would probably want a bit more adoption.
We wouldn't want them to, but that's generally how they start those things off, and that's why they start off slowly. But good news is it looks like it's coming on a mainstream board. There shouldn't be a huge premium associated with it, so those of you who are building a new computer may be able to dip your toes into the Cam 2 memory stuff. We're hoping to certainly do so as soon as possible, to let you know all about it.
All right, Steve, as our case enthusiast right here, what case has caught your eye at Computex?
Okay, we haven't done too much case shopping while we've been here, but we did stop by the Be Quiet booth, and I am a bit of a Be Quiet fan when it comes to cases. I like those reversible designs they do. I use that for my gaming / streaming setup. And I think it was the Be Quiet Lightbase 600. We're testing my memory here, so sorry if I got that wrong, but I believe it's the Lightbase 600. I like that one. There is also a 900 version, which is a bit bigger, as the name suggests, and that was good as well. But I think for what I want to build, I'm thinking of my personal setup here. I want to have a new gaming PC and a new streaming PC, and I think I'm using the Darkbase 702, is that a thing? Apologies, Be Quiet, because I do forget the exact model numbers, but I think that's what I'm currently using, 2 of those, one of them being inverted, and I would like to upgrade to these new ones because they looked awesome. And the way you can configure them, you can almost have them like a test bench or an ATX case that can face either way. So yeah, really cool. Interested to get that and start building with it. Yeah,
it looked really nice. Lots of RGB around the sides and that sort of thing. So yeah, I agree. That was a case that really did catch my eye. We're seeing a lot more of those sort of, I don't know what you call them, like glass on 2 sides designs. I think we even saw one that had glass on 3 sides, sort of
That
like
was very cool
a
as
fish
well.
tank sort of
Yep.
PC. Was that utilizing the new backside power connectors type stuff as well?
I
can't
believe
quite
so,
remember.
but I forget. We saw that much
Yeah,
stuff.
can't quite remember, but obviously that's the trend in PC cases at the moment, is more glass. I mean, glass
And the
looks
Be
cool.
Quiet
Yeah.
cases do support that feature as
Yeah,
well, I
yeah,
should
that's
note.
right.
So
So-
I'll probably be going with a motherboard with the rear-facing connectors as well
Yep,
for that really
that's right.
nice, neat design. And they're available in black and white. So I don't know, one black, one white, both black,
Yeah.
both white. I don't know. They're both white. I've gone for the sort of black-white design at the moment.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Not
go with that
sure.
again.
yeah. Well, it's black-white for both systems, not one all white and one all black.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. We'll work it out. Or maybe I'll do a poll because this is important information that we
It's
must
true.
get answers to. All right, Tim, we've talked about a few different topics so far. It's time.
Okay.
This is the big one. I hope everyone at home is ready. Are you sitting down for this? Because here we go. Has Computex finally convinced you guys to spin up AI Unboxed? So are we finally on the AI bandwagon?
I could not be more excited about AI, Steve. All the AI things I've seen at Computex have truly blown me away. We're talking AI SSDs. Now, when I think of storage, I think it stores my files.
It's
But
storing
no,
AI now.
it can store it with AI now.
Yeah,
I
but-
saw AI cases. Now, you might think there's no processing capabilities in a case whatsoever because there's no actual silicon in a case. You're wrong because of AI.
The AI needs armor.
That's right, we saw AI memory. Again, you might think just basic DDR memory. There's no need for AI in that whatsoever. AI is enhancing everything. AI power
There is a
supplies.
small data center
That's right.
that now manages the memory and does stuff.
Yeah.
Does
exactly.
lots of AI stuff, and it's good.
Yes.
It's exciting, and it's revolutionary.
I would say that the most impressive feature I've ever seen at Computex is AI. And the fact that you can now get every single component with some sort of AI in it means that you won't be left behind the curve. So for example,
We've
if you're
taken a big leap forward.
Yeah, if you're in a competitive game and your gaming mate has got an AI PC, which is of course going to enhance his gameplay because, you know, the power supply's got AI, so that's, you know, and AI storage, which, you know, does things. And then you don't want to be left behind. You want to make sure your performance and your gameplay is as good as it gets.
Yep.
And the fact that we can now go across many vendors and get AI in absolutely everything, we can even run, what was it, G-Assist and that sort of thing, which when I was demoed, worked very well, seamlessly, and I was very impressed with it. So I can't believe how much AI we've seen. The fact that it's now satisfying my needs it's really good to see.
Yes, you're very AI.
That's right. Yeah, I would say that the next step for me as a person
peak
is
AI.
moving to an AI human, I think.
There's nowhere
and
else to go.
To be honest, we probably could have gotten that done right here at Computex with the amount of booths that had AI on them. In fact, I think every booth had AI on it.
So we could keep going on like this for another hour or two, but to spare you guys that, you're probably sensing a hint of sarcasm.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Well, it's opened my eyes, I think, the Computex trade show to how overhyped and AI is. Obviously, you know, there's some impressive applications for AI. We've seen some impressive demos, and there are some real world use cases, and it's going to be a thing.
Yep.
But boy, oh boy, you would think it was solving all of the world's problems at this point in time, and it really isn't doing too many things that are particularly useful, at least that we've seen and to our little, corner of the world. So it's extremely overhyped. It's to the point of just becoming a joke at the trade show. Like, you walk in and the first thing you see is AI PC. Then you look over here and there's another AI PC, and then there's an AI this and an AI that, and it's just over the top.
The show's categories, I think they've renamed from last year, like the computer component category for vendors, to AI computer components. It's just wild.
Absurd.
And the thing is as well that you go and speak to the people demoing various AI products about, what does the AI do? You actually ask them in-depth questions about how the AI is integrated, what hardware it's using, and the answers that you get back, it's all just, it's like honestly BS. Like they're not really able to describe what the AI does, how it benefits the users, how it is going to revolutionize things, or even in some cases, is it actually AI? Like, it feels like for a lot of these categories, I mean, we joke about like an AI storage, for example, because there's no actual AI feature in an SSD, like that's just complete garbage. But, you know, you ask them, okay, so is this doing machine learning? Is this like, you know, what's happening there? And they're not being very clear about, like the MSI AI monitor, for example, that we saw. I was asking them questions about like, oh, is this just screen recognition, which is not an AI feature. We've had screen recognition for a long time. It's not revolutionary or anything. Or is this like some sort of trained model that's doing things? And we're getting very wishy-washy answers back. Like there wasn't much concrete information.
They're like, Tim, please stop asking AI-related questions and just accept our AI monitor.
But that's the thing, right? Is that a lot of what's happening in AI with all this AI stuff at the moment is like they don't want you to question it. It's like, it's just please accept that this is the future. It's going to get better. It's going to improve, and this will be the next paradigm of computing. But they don't want you to ask the hard questions.
Yeah, they're like, this works for NVIDIA. Yes. They make lots of money with AI.
Exactly.
So we make products and we want to make lots of money too. So can we just associate them as being AI?
Yeah.
And that will work, I think.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like I thought this show would definitely have like a big AI focus because, you know, obvious buzzword. But the fact that every single booth, like maybe with the exception of a company like Noctua, who's very focused on their products and makes genuinely good high performance. They're focused on what they need to focus on. Don't think there was a mention of AI at their booth, but pretty much every other vendor, like it blew my mind, some of the products that were being labeled as AI.
I mean, Team Group just weren't even trying.
Yeah.
Just everything they already had, they just brought to the show and changed the name to incorporate AI at some point. It was, we like Team Group products, but it was pretty embarrassing, and we saw a lot of that. And really what we didn't see was useful AI products, implementations, demonstrations. So the most useful thing by a country mile we saw was from NVIDIA, and it was one of their game demos that was heavily leveraging AI.
Yeah,
a very
Ace.
small, limited demo. I wish we had filmed it because Tim was absolutely hilarious doing it, Special Agent Tim. But it's a demo. It's kind of like seeing the original ray tracing demos. They're pretty cool now. They're potentially cool. The demo's somewhat cool because we had the Star Wars demo and stuff back in the day, and that looked bloody mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But then getting that to reality to like a game like Cyberpunk was many, many, many years later. And I think getting a game to have the AI that we saw is going to be a much longer lead time than even that. So buying hardware now in the hope that you better play these AI games whenever they're meant to come out, it's just not a thing. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So the demo is cool, the possibilities are cool, but I think that's the word possibility should always be followed by AI, because it almost always was. It was like the possibilities of AI in games and whatever it is that, there's, for gamers and home users, there wasn't too many things where we could point to and say, that is awesome and I want to go buy that when I get home.
And the thing that was also quite striking was when we saw the AI demo at NVIDIA's Ace, I was genuinely quite impressed with it. Obviously,
very impressive.
There's still all the caveats that you were talking about, but the fact that no other company we saw had their AI products even close to that level, like, the contrast was so significant that it's like, oh yeah, that seems more what people are talking about when they're saying AI is going to change things in the future. You see that and you're like, okay, I kind of get that. But then you go to like seeing an AI PSU or an AI case, it's like, that's not an actual demonstration of AI. Like, we've seen what the AI can do and you're not showing it with that product. But as you say, like, even that demo is just about the possibilities in the future. But at least with NVIDIA's side, they actually could demonstrate something that you could point to and be like, okay, maybe in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that technology will be integrated into games. So yeah, I don't want to like sit here and say like AI is going to be totally useless, like it's not going to have any real world benefits, because obviously even in tools we use today, like Photoshop, there are things like, generative fill and those tools that do work quite well, but they're small little things here and there. They're edge cases, they're small features. It's not entire products yet. They're nowhere near the hype that there is in the market right now. Like, the realities just aren't the money that's being spent and the realities of the products, they're not matching just yet. So maybe we'll come back to Computex in 2034 and all those AI products will have some legitimacy. But I'm really hoping that, in a couple of years from now, we're not going to see these joke products where it's like an AI case or an AI power supply, and the companies have cooled off that and sort of recognized that, yeah, that makes no sense.
Yeah, they've realized saying AI doesn't print money.
Yeah, that's right. Do you have a guess why motherboard manufacturers do these ridiculous VRM overkills? 20 plus power phases, now even over 30, which we saw from ASRock at Computex, and why they're doing that on mainstream platforms.
Well, I think it's good that they're doing it on mainstream platforms. Really, they're doing it because they don't make 1, 2, 3, 4, keep counting as long as you like motherboards. They make sometimes 50 motherboards on the one chipset. There's certainly, most of the brands have 20 plus boards for the one chipset, which you can argue whether that's a good or a bad thing, but it does offer you plenty of options. And the reason we test all those boards is because we tell you at which point, they start to create problems by running too hot, CPU throttling, all that sort of stuff. You don't necessarily need a board with, 20 power stages. It's probably 20 power stages in total, so, it might be 16, 17 for the V-Core. You don't necessarily need that, but then some people, if they're buying it and they're going to upgrade in the future, it's nice to have that, future-proof angle. It's really just about flexibility and having some good options. And really what we advocate for is having good quality motherboards that are affordable, like your B650M HDV, for example, that can run pretty much any CPU. Yeah, look, it might get a bit hot, but that's perfectly fine. We're not really going for we don't need the VRMs running at 60 degrees, up around 80 degrees, 90 degrees even. Perfectly fine. Even the boards that get up around 100 degrees for extended workloads, really not a problem as long as we're seeing the advertised performance, so performance is where it should be, so therefore we're not getting CPU throttling or any stuff like that. So if they want to go a bit overkill and they can offer that at a competitive price, then I'm all for it.
Yep.
All right, Tim, interested to get your thoughts on this one.
Yep.
Do you think BTF motherboards, so that's the
Asus brand.
Yeah, rear-facing connectors on motherboards, so that trend we're seeing, MSI's Project Zero, whatnot, will that become a new form? Or will it become the new form?
I don't know whether it'll become like the overriding only option on the market, but it certainly seems like it's got legs and it's got some promise. We've seen more case support for it at Computex. Obviously Asus is jumping on board with Back to Future.
Yeah, they couldn't do Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's right, because of the trademark legal reasons. So they Back to Future.
They removed, okay, cool.
Sure. But yeah, I think it's a good form factor. Like we've seen some, I think of like Intel's ATX 12 volt, solution thing where you start powering your SATA drives and whatnot directly from the motherboard as opposed to having those power cables come out from the power supply. I sort of think of that, I'm like, it's not really solving problems that everyday consumers think of big deals, like, running a power cable to your hard drive, not a huge issue. But building PCs is easier on, like when we did our Project Zero builds with the MSI
really easy.
boards.
Kind of neat.
Very easy, it looks neat, it looks nice, and with such a focus on aesthetics and RGB and all that sort of thing, getting these boards that gives you a more clean aesthetic is a good thing. So I think it will probably have some sort of success in the market, but I'm not sure how much success. We'll see.
Yep. All right, Tim, I think we should have a break there, maybe get a drink, relax a little bit more, maybe recline in these lovely seats and just take in the view.
Yeah. What sort of drink are you going to get?
Oh, I'm not going to concern myself with such details at this point in time. I'll let Balin work that out for me. Balin, surprise me, please. He's not saying anything.
That's an expert non-answer. You do very well working at PR at one of these companies we've spoken to this week.
Good job, Balin. Well, yeah, anyway, it's been a lot of fun, very relaxing, enjoyed answering a few questions. You got anything to say to the people? Sort of rub in the nice atmosphere, the drinks, the relaxation, let them know more about the sort of high life we've been living for the last week.
Yeah, not sure that describes what we've been up to, but if you are a fan of Hardware Unboxed and you want to support the channel, we've got obviously our Discord and all that sort of thing you can access via our Patreon and Float Plan accounts. A lot of you guys, well, in fact, all of the questions that we've been answering in this episode have come directly from the Discord members. So we've got our little exclusive Q&A zone in there. We've also got some BTS stuff. You will have seen BTS from Computex right here if you were a member of the Hardware Unboxed channel and you looked at the Discord community. So lots of great stuff in there. And yeah, I think that pretty much does it for this one. So I'm your host, Tim.
I'm your host, Steve.
See you in the next one.